Chef Alex, and welcome back to our home. So today we have a very easy recipe. It's very quick, something that you can do. It is a it's not a sorry, the self is wrong. It's a single rise dough, meaning that's like a white bread. What's going to happen is it's only going to rise once and then it's going to go into the oven. So today, cinnamon rolls. So let's get started. Over here, I have 2.5 cups of flour. Okay. Now remember we talked about in another video about nuances. All bread is just a bunch of nuances. A little bit of this, a little less of that, a little more of this, and all of a sudden you have different breads. Okay. Same thing here. Right. So in our previous videos, I showed you that you're only going to use water. Now here, we're not going to use water at all. Okay? So here I have 2.5 cups of flour and I have 2 tablespoons of sugar. All right? And to that sugar, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of yeast. It's pretty much one of these. It's 2.5. Okay? So that's going to be our leavening agent. You're going to be nice and puffy. Alright? Now the next thing we're going to add for our cinnamon rolls, alright, as an ingredient, we're going to need ground cardamom. Alright? Now ground cardamom is that little, I don't know what, that je ne sais quoi, that you're like, what is that flavor of that? I don't know what it is. That's the cardamom. Now this stuff is really strong, so you want to go light or it'll overpower everything and everything will taste like cardamom. Okay? So you're looking at about 1/8 of a teaspoon. That's it. That's enough to flavor it. Okay? Now we have sugar, yeast, flavor. We need a pinch of salt for contrast. Okay? Now, in this case, our moisture, we're going to add eggs to this. Okay? So, when do we add our eggs? We add them first. Because you don't add your liquid and then add your eggs. Your eggs are liquid. Okay? So they have to be included in the liquid. That means you got to add them first. Alright? So if you add enough eggs to this, you won't need any liquid. Believe it or not. Alright? So, first thing I'm going to do is add 2 eggs to this. Alright? Alright, 2 eggs. 2 whole eggs. Alright? And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to pulse this a little bit. If you're doing this by hand, you add the eggs. You add your eggs, and you knead it a little bit. And once the eggs start to be absorbed, then you start to add your liquid. Alright? So here we go. So the eggs are in. Now the next thing I'm going to do is add my butter. Now I got half a stick of butter cut up into tablespoons. And I'm going to pulse this now. That's it. Now, we need liquid, okay? Our liquid today is going to be evaporated milk, all right? Now this is going to go in. I want to do this relatively fast because the butter's starting to melt, believe it or not. So this is going to go in the instant that it starts to come together, that's when you want to get it out. You don't want to keep mixing this and kneading it for an additional minute to warm up the yeast because it'll melt the butter, okay? So you want this to 65, 70, somewhere around there, all right? So we turn it on, and we fill. Let's see how much of this we need. Now this is a 1/2 cup measure. Looks like it's going to be about a 1/2 cup, let's see. Starting to come together. Might need a little bit more. 1/4 cup. Bring it together. Come on. Give it a second. It'll catch. Let's see where we're at here because I don't want it to get warm. So this needs a little bit more liquid. So let's give it 2 tablespoons. Now you notice it's liquid on the sides, but in the center it's dry. All right. So what we want to do is we want this let it go for just a second, not too long. See how it's starting to spin around there, come apart. That's ready. It should be nice now. Oh yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Yeah, see, kind of looks cakey, but bready at the same time. You see how it's already got the bread strands down there? So it's already halfway there, all right? Now, we're going to transfer this to a bowl, cover it, and let it sit for 1 hour and 30 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to do this. So this is 1 pound of dark brown sugar, and we're going to go half, all right? And this is like lumpy stuff, so you can pretty much break it in half and drop it, okay? Let's make sure we get it all. No stragglers. All right. Now to that, we're going to add half a cup of white sugar. Just regular old sugar. All right. Now, let's see where we're at here. Because you have to mix this, all right? What's going to happen is the white sugar gets in between the brown sugar, and it prevents lumps, believe it or not. So yeah, we're going to need some more. So we're going to go with a cup, maybe even a cup and a half. Let's see. Now, I don't go by measurement here. I go by the way this looks, okay? Right now it's starting to look perfect. So look a little bit whiter than it's supposed to be because I'm about to add a lot of cinnamon. Cinnamon will darken it right back up. Okay? So this is 2.37 ounces of ground cinnamon. Okay. This will probably make more than 1 batch, but we'll see. All right, so we got a half the jar of cinnamon in there. And we're going to keep mixing a little bit. Bring it all together. This is the center filling for the cinnamon rolls. Okay. That's all back nice and mixed again. And don't worry about the lumps, we'll get them out. I'm going to work this with my hands because it's the only way. Remember, impeccably clean hands. Alright? It's extremely important. That's perfect right there. Okay, so this is our mix. Half a pound. Was it 2 or 3 of these? Well, you'll have to count. And half a bottle of this. Just mix it up. Now we set it aside. Now we're going to put this in a bowl, cover it for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we'll come back. right, so our next step is we're going to make our rolls, okay? So now, before I told you this was a single rise bread, it's not necessarily true. It's more like a 1.5, okay? Because we don't go straight from the mixer to the container where you're going to bake it, and then to the oven. No, we have to roll this out. So what we do is we give this a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes to rest. And once it's rested, we can stretch it out and roll it with everything inside, cut it, and put it together. Okay, so let's put it together. Right. As you can see, it's a nice. Oh yeah, that smells nice. I wish I had smell-o-vision. See, so now, essentially, what I want to do is I want to roll this out relatively thin, and I'll tell you why. Because that'll get more of the cinnamon in there, and it's going to rise again. So it's not like, you know, they're going to be this big because I flattened them. No, not at all. All right. So we're going to go as far as we can. Okay. Making a square. All right. See how we have a nice square? Now we're going to take our mix. Okay. And we're going to generously put it in there. Alright. So I'm going to go with 3 handfuls and spread it out and see how we do. I know right now I'm going to need more. So I'm going to need some over here. Okay. So what you want to do essentially is you want to get this all the way to the edge. Don't worry about it falling out. Don't worry about it falling out. We're gonna add more right now, and I'm gonna teach you a little trick. Okay, so that a lot of it doesn't fall out. Some still will fall out, but you're gonna get a lot that doesn't. Okay. All right. So now that that's spread out, here's our trick. All right. I'm gonna push it into the dough. Okay. Now. There are 2 ways of making cinnamon rolls, okay? There's this way and the butter way. In the butter way, you're going to take these exact same ingredients and you're going to mix it with butter, like a compound butter, and then you're going to spread that like this. Either way, it doesn't matter. They're both great, okay? So whichever one you want to do, you'll have to try them both to see which one you like better, all right? This is the one that I enjoy. I think the one with the butter is a little bit too oily, all right? But give it a try, all right? So now that you've pressed it in, now we're going to add a little bit of generosity, okay? We're going to spread that generosity around. Alright, we got a big pan because I ran out of little ones. Okay. Now, make sure your hands are clean, always. Most basic thing in the kitchen is clean hands, okay? Alright, so. Our next step is we're going to take it and start rolling it. Okay? Now, the way you roll it is you have to get the lip up, okay? And then once you get the lip up, you can start folding it into itself. Like as if you were doing a braid in the first one, so that it catches. Okay? So here, that caught nicely. You see how it's a little loose over here? It means we got to come back over here and do a little more. All right, that'll catch. There we go. And this is a sticky dough, so you got to be careful. And you don't want to add too much flour, so it's going to stay sticky as long as you're working with it, because if you start adding flour, what will happen is it'll dry out. Okay? And then the rolls won't come out the same. All right? So see how it's sticking a little bit to the table? That's okay. It's totally okay. All right? Now we're going to bring this bad boy back over here. All right? See, he's a nice big tube. Oh, here we go. All right, so our next step is, before we do any cutting, we got to make sure that where we're going to put it is nice and non-stick, because this will stick. Okay? So look at how much I'm putting in. You're going to say, oh my God, chef, why are you doing so much? This is how we work, okay? Look in there. You see that? That's the proper amount of pan spray to put in there. If you do this, like this crap suggests you do, everything will stick. Okay? So take that with a grain of salt. Alright, so our next step is we're going to cut them. Alright? Once we cut them, we're going to set them up here. And they don't have to be, it's not going to fill them. Obviously, the pan is huge. So you want to cut them about an inch, inch and a half. It's up to you, you know? Totally up to you. Alright? What you want to do is you want to stack them this way. Alright? Looky here. It looks like it's going to fill up the pan. What a surprise. Alright, and then you're going to make sure they don't plop over, okay? And the only way to do that is by flattening them out a little bit. Alright? Okay. They're nice and flat. We don't need this. Okay, so our next step, all right, the very next step is we have to put some pan spray on these, because what's going to happen is they're going to create a skin, and you want to pretty saturate this down too, okay? Well, that ain't going to cut it. That's nothing. Okay, and then you got to turn it and hit the other side, get the sides you didn't get. Okay? That's it. Now, you're going to give this 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we'll come back and make it up. Alright, so the topping. You can't make a good cinnamon roll without a good topping. If you throw some sugar on it, that ain't going to cut it. Okay? You have a decent bun, but you need a good topping. So, for a good topping, we're going to do a cream cheese topping. Now I have, for this recipe, I have 1 package of cream cheese that I've let sit out pretty much all morning. It's at room temperature now. That's nice. It should be nice and soft. See? See how soft that is? If it's not that soft, it needs to stay out a little longer. Alright. It should be smearable. You know the stuff when it gets cold is really hard and it doesn't want to mix, okay? So what we're doing here is we're prepping it because we're going to add some cream and we're going to add some other ingredients to this, okay? So now that it's malleable, as you can see, over here we have the leftover cinnamon mix, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the big one, okay? The big one. Switch to a spoon because it's This thing just does not have the power. We need the power. Alright, so I'm gonna come in here and work the sugar mixture into the cream cheese. Okay? What's that gonna do? Whoa. That's gonna incorporate everything a lot nicer, first of all. It'll all be nice and smooth, as you can see. Oh. Alright, you see that? Now that's where we're at. That's where we're supposed to be. Now to that, I'm going to add a little tang. A little tang is some sour cream, okay? I'm going to go with about half a tablespoon. Again, the big one, okay? And this is going to take a little bit of cream. So now the cream I'm going to add a little bit at a time. It's going to end up being around half a cup, okay? You don't want to dilute this, all right? What you want to do is you want to make a nice paste. I'm making a mess. Alright, so as you can see, making a nice paste here. No, it doesn't look like it's going to need a lot more cream. Just a little bit maybe. Let's see. No, actually that's good. So here we went with a 1/4 cup. And I'm going to stir this a little bit so that the sugar can dissolve. Now we can use something a little bigger, since it's not so... Oh, we'll have to use this as an excuse to taste. That's amazing. I wish you could taste this. I'd give you a spoon right here and say, hey, taste this. It's amazing stuff. All right. So this is going to reinforce the cinnamoniness, the cinnamon of the buns. Okay. As you can see, it's a nice homogeneous color. It's nice and well blended. Okay. So now, it's going to be another hour and 30 minutes before the buns are ready to go into the oven. So, how do you store this? Well, you leave it at room temperature until your buns are out of the oven and they're cool. The minute you put this back in the fridge, it's going to start to get really hard again, and it'll become unspreadable. Okay, this can stay out pretty much all day. They won't go bad on you with all the stuff that you got in here. Okay. Now it's up to you whether you want to add a pinch of vanilla. Okay. You can add vanilla if you want to. I personally don't like it. Or you can also add vanilla and a little bit of lemon rind, a little bit of the zest. I don't like that either. Okay. So my cinnamon rolls. So now we're going to let this sit on the counter for an hour and 30 minutes while we wait for the cinnamon rolls to get plump. Okay? 2.5 times their size. So that's going to take about an hour and 30 minutes. All right? We'll be back. All right, we're back. So it's been the allotted time and the cinnamon rolls have risen. Check it out. Look at that, how pretty. Now we're going to put them in the oven at 425 degrees for about 22 minutes. We'll come back in 22 minutes for the final segment, and let me explain what just happened. I had this beautiful pan of cinnamon rolls, and I frosted them ready to show you. I set them on the counter, and I walked away for about 3 seconds. When I came back, 4 of them were gone. Never to show up again. So this is what I have left and what I can show you, believe it or not. they vanished before I was done. So they get the frosting, a nice big dollop of frosting. And they're just amazing, guys. So remember, learn to cook, and you'll eat better for the rest of your life.